Here's another visit to Better Late and Clever, and we successfully navigated the first series, and series 2, trust me, is in the pipeline with some rather remarkable things for you to view. At the moment, we're doing a couple of episodes just to keep something for your attention. And at the moment, I don't know whether you know, but it is Black History Month. And that is, I don't know, they call it a celebration, I think, but I don't like celebration. I would rather use the word acknowledgement, because you can go to a celebration without knowing anything about what's going on, just enjoying the company. But if you acknowledge something, you generally have to know something about it. And it is vitally important, because there is no black history, because it hasn't been taught in schools. It hasn't been considered as part of the educational system, and so that's missing. So now, for this month, what you can do is to just inquire, just try and discover what you could see in the past black history. This one that we've got is amazing, because we've got folks who are living together in this country now, and have all come together to give us their thoughts, their ideas, how they got here perhaps, and how long they've been here, and what where they come from, different locations. And it is nice to see that there is an awareness in Newtown Court in Cardiff of one another. I think, if I'm rightly, they have about 11 nationalities of people, older people, of course, that's all we deal with. We just talk to old people there, and living in fairly good harmony. So have a look, and we'll come back at the end and make a comment then as well. Good morning. We are here again in Newtown Court. You can say court, things like that. Although there's no talking, you can actually help me when I'm getting the situation. And I'd like to introduce...
My name is Wayne Lee, and I am a housing manager here at Newtown Court in Cardiff.
And what's your history?
My history? Well, family history. My parents are Jamaican.
Right.
My dad is Jamaican Chinese mix. So very interesting foods, very interesting conversations and history and all of that. So both my parents came to the UK individually and met in the UK in the 60s.
Right.
And I won't tell you when I was born, but I came along after that, and have benefited from two wonderful parents and the culture, and of course growing up in Cardiff and going to school in Cardiff, and maybe being one of 2-3 black people in the school.
Yeah.
You know, you face discrimination. You face discrimination from people on the outside.
Yes.
You face discrimination within the system, within the schooling system, and you also face discrimination, sadly, from your friendship groups as well.
Yeah.
There were times when my closest friends would make racist remarks and just laugh at these jokes. And
what was the path that led you to United Welsh?
Well, my background is youth and community work.
Yeah.
I've mostly worked in the sort of charity sector most of my career. I've worked within youth and community work, within equalities. Mm-hmm. My previous job was managing a community centre in a deprived area in Cardiff. And the natural progression from sort of managing a building and all that comes with it, along with the community accessing the building, led me to apply for the role here with United Welsh, which covers building management, but also supporting residents to sustain their tenancies. And managing and helping people with more complex issues that lead to antisocial behaviour as well.
Can I just throw a question in? Seeing as we're in Wales, do you ever play rugby?
I've played rugby, yes. I've been mistaken for a New Zealand rugby player in the past, but mistaken, sadly, not reality.
Didn't get wages.
Exactly. But yeah, you've got to play a bit of rugby if you grow up in Wales.
So, yes, well, I did when I was in school. I was in school in Cardiff, so
yeah,
I did. And what have you found the most I was going to say, it's not really interesting, but the most challenging part of doing this job.
There were lots of challenges within the role itself, which I think everybody will face.
Right.
I think, you know, as we're sort of commemorating Black History Month, I would bring it back to the challenges I've met maybe as a black man working within housing. I think there have not been many black people within this role. Although the numbers are increasing, there's still, I would say, an underrepresentation of black people working in housing, and particularly working within management. And I think that's important because we need to reflect our communities, you know, reflect our population. And here at Newton Court, we have around 9 or 10 people, I'd say, who are non-white Welsh.
I know,
which is around 25% of population here, which is great, but that's not the same in all of our buildings. And I think that's important because having staff that reflect our population provides a better insight and better understanding around culture, around helping to provide more harmonious and sustainable housing for all of our residents as well. So, but also people living in our houses can also aspire to then go on and work in housing if their housing experience has been positive. They'll aspire hopefully then to go on and to work within the arena of housing as well.
So for those who it comes as a surprise to, what's your interpretation of the month, assigning a month? I know we had some famous artists who weren't happy with the month. They wanted a bit more. But what's your take on it? So the people watching it will get an insight to the month.
I'll try and keep it succinct. I mean, there's so many different reasons, aren't there? I mean, we've just watched the video of Betty Campbell, you know, a Welsh, you know, Cardiff-based, you know, first black head teacher in Wales, and what a fantastic legacy that is. And so for me, it's just important. It's 1 month a year where we can actually promote, we can showcase, we can spread that education and that information to people of that contribution that people of colour, people you know who that have lived and worked and settled in Wales have contributed to. And for me, there's so many different factors. So you've got, do you remember the Florence Nightingale?
Yes.
So she was particularly known for her role in the Crimean War. Have you heard of Mary Seacole?
No.
So that's part of the reason why we need Black History Month. So Mary Seacole was a nurse who was from the BAME community. She wasn't allowed to receive funding to go and support the British soldiers in the Crimean War, so she raised her own money. She fundraised and she took herself to the Crimean War. She went and set herself up very deep within, sort of close to the front line, and nursed and supported those soldiers back to health. And she was very, very popular with the soldiers, but her legacy, her story was never told in school.
Well, that's the problem. Telling the history.
That's it. And so we recognise that voice, that story, that those stories are not being told in the way that they should be told. And so, as I said, you've heard of Florence Nightingale.
Yes,
where you haven't,
exactly.
So that's why it's important. But bringing it even more locally and zooming into Wales and into Cardiff, we've got the Rugby Code Breakers. So I don't know if you've heard of Clive Sullivan, and Billy Boston in particular. They were told by the Welsh Rugby Union, you're never going to play for Wales because of the colour of your skin.
That's right.
And they were top players.
Yes.
And the English, up north, the Welsh Rugby League, they knew of them, and they came down and just picked them up and said, right, come with us, come and play rugby, we recognise your talent. And even today, there are statues, and there's a road named after Clive Sullivan, Sullivan Way, up north. But it was only recently that Wales has finally recognised that, and there's a statue of them in Cardiff Bay.
Could just have a little footnote there that you won't know about. I come from a little town called Brimau. And back in the day, there was a young boy, 14, disappeared for the weekend. Parents didn't know where he'd gone. And he went to Wigan
Yeah.
and he came back with a contract for rugby league and went on to be a great name there and player and coach and all that business. And from that's a similar story.
Yeah,
but
fantastic.
and we've got a statue of him now
Yeah,
that they put up
yeah.
in the marketplace in town.
Yeah, fantastic. And so that's why it's important. And even, you know, recent years, isn't it? We've had the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, and I had people come to me and say, well, you know, why are people saying Black Lives Matter? You know, and people just couldn't understand the concept.
That's right.
You know, all lives matter. You know, why are you saying Black Lives Matter? And actually, it's actually about recognising that the disparity in education, in housing, in healthcare, in the way that people are policed, in the way that people are treated. And so it's like, can you imagine having a conversation with saying, or save the local high street, you know, the local butcher, the local person who's had a greetings card shop for the last 30 years in Cardiff, and then someone pipes up and says, oh, what about John Lewis? You know, it's not about that.
It's about quite the same.
It's not quite the same. And so
right.
I hope people will go some way just to recognising that. And I must say, Wales, since 2022, have started teaching about Black history within the education system, which is a step forward. But there's a way to go, but we're not there yet. And Black History Month helps to highlight the past.
That sort of thing helps, isn't it?
And the future as well, isn't it? So that's why it's important.
Well, Wayne, it's been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
And well, it's great interest for the people watching the podcast. And we've got another couple that we're going to do, so we'll have a nice rounded out interview to go up. Second interview for this visit, and you are
Nyarai
Chitsiga. And Nyarai Chitsiga is what?
It's a Shawnee.
Is it?
It's from what is now known as Zimbabwe.
Oh, right. Well, what was it known before?
It was formerly known as Rhodesia.
Ah, a lot of trouble there, wasn't there?
Yes.
And how long have you been here?
Since 1968.
And how long have you been here?
In Newtown Court, 10 months now.
Yeah.
Yes, my anniversary is in December. My first anniversary.
She's gone in the kitchen now. Do you like it here? Okay, well, as we saw, we need to get your impressions of the Black Month. We need your thoughts.
Okay, that's
how it
fine.
appeals to you and what you would like to come from it. What you would like to tell the people who won't know about it.
Black History Month.
Back
History Month.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yes.
We'll cut that, don't we?
A lot of people get confused about why should there be a month dedicated to Black history.
Morgan Freeman being one of the great actors is good work.
No, I had a problem with it actually, but when I started to understand, a lot of Black people really have no idea about their own distant culture, their own pasts, and their own evolution in terms of their colour, how they got to be where they are today, and so they've maybe moved to another part of the world and they become part of the culture, which is what you're supposed to do. They call it
right.
multiculturalism.
That's it, yeah.
But there is a big gaping hole for the Black community that needs to be filled, and that's why Black History Month is very important.
So it's not only going to the people who are not Black, but it's also to help the Black community to realise, get yourself together and listen to what you were and what you want, and yes,
it helps everybody because because also the culture that they are trying to become a part of don't know who they are. So Black History Month also helps them to understand what Black history is about. So it's a two-way street. So you're both understanding.
yes.
Oh, well, I didn't know that about Black people.
That's
Oh,
right.
I didn't know that, because it also helps Black people know about the white race. I mean,
Right.
we're taught now you can't say white and you can't say black
Oh,
because no, that is not politically correct. But it helps us to understand each other, and that's why I've asked Christine to come, because Christine is she doesn't look like she's from the black race at all, but
No.
her father was Jamaican, so she has got another perspective
Right.
on what it is to be a human being of colour, or you know, or however you want to describe yourself.
So, what is happening in Black History Month? What are things? Are there rallies? Are there programs on TV? Are they? What is happening to raise this awareness? This is going to do it. We'll get this up straight away, which is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like poetry,
Yeah.
arts, cinema. Also, there's a lot of things going on the internet, TikTok.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of emerging. I see streets, so I
Oh,
know.
right.
So you know streets.
Yes,
you know
yes,
streets.
yeah, yeah.
He's really putting the profile of black people up there.
Right.
And helping people, and he travels all over the world,
Yeah.
and he meets, and they are people who he goes to communities who might think, oh dear, black people, but they absolutely love streets. They absolutely love him because he's going out there and he's profiling that, you know, we're all mixed. So he's really helping us. I love streets. I got to plug you there, streets, because he's really helping, honestly, to get black people out there.
Now then, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay,
Okay. Something we're doing with the podcast,
right.
right, is recording in, and we even did it with Richard. He didn't know it was coming either, but we did it with Richard. The expression is, this is something my mother used to say. Now, my mother used to say things like, if you fall off that chair and break your leg, don't come running to me. Now, did your mother ever say, no, I've got a recording on there by someone from Scotland,
Yes.
and we don't know what he said.
Yeah, my great grandfather
You do?
was Scottish with ginger
Oh,
hair and
is he?
freckles. Yes. So I'm actually from a mixed race
Oh, yes.
ethnicity.
Yeah, yeah.
So he married a Xhosa woman from Africa, and they had 14 children.
Yeah.
And she was very, very dark. What they used to say in the old days, it sounds racist now, but they used to say black as coal. To try, yes. So we've come a long way now,
An
because
awful
you
long way.
can't say that now.
Now,
I
don't
know
try
I've
and
just
dodge
said
while
it.
we're on
I've
the
just said
duty
it.
do. What did you, something your mother used to say, or your grandmother or grandfather, like that? That
Yeah.
funny sort of saying that we don't know. Can you remember one?
I'm thinking now.
And it would be typical, wouldn't it? Be in the.
You mean an old wives' tale?
Well, like that. Like that. Kind of thing.
You get what you give.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You get what you give.
Well, I knew that one. That's
Yes,
a new one, so
yeah,
that's
no,
good.
no,
going.
that's what my mother-
good.
yes.
No, that's just a little thing that we're running alongside the podcast, and everybody comes on, like I said, including Richard, has done that, so we get a little taste from your
Yes,
family.
yes, yes. So I grew up in Rhodesia, which was apartheid. So
It
I
was,
grew
yeah.
up in apartheid, where you were based on your skin tone.
Yes.
It wasn't just whether you were black or white.
Your
It was
tone. Oh.
so my mother was a Cape coloured, because my mother was half caste
Oh, right.
or
Which
mixed
you mustn't
race.
say
You
anymore,
mustn't
but
say
yeah,
half caste
yeah.
anymore. My mother was mixed black white,
Right.
and her mother, my grandmother Nancy, was white.
Yeah.
So under apartheid, you were. It was actually your skin tone,
Tone.
and you could only get a pass if you were a very light skin tone of black. That made it even harder for you.
Oh.
It was even harder for somebody who was a lighter shade of pale, than somebody who was black, because you had to prove why are you that
What
very, like,
immediately
black.
comes to my mind is how this affected your schooling.
Well, you had to go to black schools or white schools.
And were they shaded?
Yes,
Wait,
and they
as
were
well?
shaded as well. So, you know.
Now, I think that's a little bit of history from that part of the world that
Yes.
probably this will be the first time people have ever heard it.
It's a heck of
is-
it. I've cut it very short
Oh,
for
I'm
you
sure,
because
I'm
it's
sure.
it was. I mean, I was banned as a child, and to be banned meant somebody in your family, your black family or white family, because white people were also banned under apartheid, had said something to offend the government about, or you'd hung out with a white person, which means everybody in your vicinity had to ban you. So you had to stay in your house for like 14 days to pay into your honestly, that's that was my childhood.
Absolutely.
It was horrendous. It was very, very fascist actually.
It was, yeah.
And it was Ian Smith at the time, as
Yes,
you know, it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
and eventually we know now the history of South Africa and the freedom.
That's right.
So yes, my father was a freedom fighter, and the reason why we ended up in this country was because he was put on a hit list
Oh,
by Ian Smith.
you're
It's very heavy, yeah. It's
you're not on that list now, are you? Because you better be careful
I don't
showing
know.
this to me.
Yes, no, that yeah, but that's how bad racism was at that time.
Yeah,
You know, Americans talk about Jim Crow. It was the same sort of thing.
that's right.
It was the
That's
same.
it.
But you know, when I grew up, we thought, oh, you know, you never escape being black. But I'm living now, and I can see the phenomenal things black people have done, and
Yes,
white
sir.
people have
Yeah.
done to help black
That's right.
people. It's a two-way street.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Isn't that a lovely interview?
I
You
don't want to
always
frighten
read,
you
always
anymore.
read.
don't all
So-
run away. It's not all bleak.
Well done.
No, Chris is here for the final interview, and she has a connection that sets her right in tune with Black History Month. We'll turn up, Chris.
Hi, right, Chris. I'm 64.
Oh,
I grew up with one sister and 4 brothers, but my stepfather, as far as I was concerned, was my father, was Jamaican,
Right.
and my mother was from Merthyr. So I'm the white sheep of the family.
all right.
Everyone's got a black sheep. We had a white sheep there.
Well, I know your brother, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm from the
playwright.
From the playwright, yes, right. So, you when were you 64? So you were born in Cardiff, were you?
Yeah.
That's right. And where did you go to school?
Baden Powell to start with, and then Willows High, unfortunately.
Willows High. Oh, cool.
It's terrible.
And so, what is your involvement in, from a personal, really
Yeah,
personal,
no.
in Black History
Right.
Month?
When we were little kids, my father used to teach us Caribbean songs, calypsos and
Yes,
things like that.
yeah.
And
You
he
don't just
wasn't-
do one now, do you?
He wasn't
okay.
really into the reggae, but also he was born in Jamaica, but at 17 he went to live with an aunt in America, and then he joined the American Merchant Navy. So he lived in parts of America when the apartheid was still on.
Oh,
And as a
right.
child, he used to tell us these stories about having to walk on the one side of
Yes.
the road, you couldn't eat in you. He's also used to tell us stories about how they had to run from the Ku Klux Klan and all
Oh.
that stuff. And he used to sit there and tell us these stories, and then he used to look at me and he used to say, you've got to make choices in life, and the fact that you're not you're not of mixed race, we weren't allowed to say half caste anymore,
No,
but
no.
the fact you're not a mixed race there means you will have choices, and what you learn as a child and all that stuff, so you get the understanding of it. Because I used to think, why is he telling us this? The way he used to say it was making out that I'll have problems in life, but I didn't realise he was educating me on things that we know
That's
nothing
right.
about, so you can get a better understanding also. And then when I started working, I can remember my brothers, a couple of times that there was, you know, kids playing around in the streets and whatever, and one of the shop workers came out and said, go away, you monkeys, what are you doing round here? My brother's come home really upset because the shopman had called them monkeys. Now, he was a very, very mild man, my father, not very angry. Oh, but he marched down there and gave him a mouthful because he said, that's disgusting that you're saying that to kids.
Yeah.
And he never called him a monkey after that. So he used to tell us those stories. And as you said, he used to tell us all these stories and whatever. And then when I went to actually, I went to Willows, and a lot of the kids in Willows, we were the first black family in Tremorfa in Council Estate, but a lot of the kids in Willows came from over the docks as well.
Oh,
so
right.
we did grow up. I remember the girl up the road, she was going out with one of the coloured boys from the docks, but he wasn't allowed to knock on the door because they didn't like him. So she used to call on the door for me, because I was in school with her, used to call on the door for me, and then I'd go down to Susan and ask her to come out. So the parents didn't realise that she's going round the corner to meet a coloured boy.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when I started working, I didn't really, because I'd never really, obviously I've been told stories and things, but I never experienced racism myself because what people in the area knew and wouldn't say anything.
Right.
So I started working, and they were all in for GPO then, in the computer centre, and they were all, most of them were Valleys, some were from Cardiff, but they were all, there was only one guy there that was coloured, they were all. And I was absolutely horrified at some of the things I used to say here, and I used to get angry and stuff. And then I realised by the time I was 17 when I started working there, and by the time I got to about 18, I realised there's no point in arguing with people like that because you're not going to change their point of view, and the only person that walks away upset is you because you can't get them to change their view. So I would not say anything then, and it wasn't because I just wanted to let it ride. I just realised there's no point in getting involved in argument of that. And then many years later, to go back, my father was a miner who used to work in Langarrow.
Yes, I know
and
that.
we didn't realise some of the stuff. Now, my brother, who's a playwright, as you met, writes all sorts of plays on things, and most of those seem to have a bit of an edge to do with either growing up in a coloured community. Well, he's done lots and lots of research on Black Welsh miners, and we were on BBC Two or BBC One Wales with Nathan Blake, the footballer, doing this thing on there. And it was really, really surprising about some of the things that they used to do and say to him and whatever. But he was a very, very quiet, passive man. I mean, if you had to run away from the Ku Klux Klan in America, the couple of Valleys boys in the mine
they're no trouble at all. No trouble at all.
So he used to ignore that. But then when he passed away, and my brother was doing the research, he found out all of the good things that he did, and how he'd saved lives and things like that. But you don't hear about any of those ones. But I bet you, if one of the white miners had actually done something like that, he'd been all over the newspapers. Yeah, it was quite interesting to hear about all of that.
I'm from Cardiff, but for many years now I've lived in that community, all the pits down the valley. So a lot of the things that I saw in the play were really good. So, it's nice to have a different take on it. And
I just got to say my view on Black History Month. It needs to be done to educate people, but one of the things that worries me in Cardiff is they put on the Black History Month, but they don't do enough publicity for actually what's going on. And the only people that do know what's going on are people who've had some connection with the black community in the first place.
Well, that's right. Yes, I can understand how that would happen. It needs to be. It needs to be
more publicity.
Published a little bit more. Yes, so because then you will get people who don't know what it's about, but will want to find out.
And the reasons behind it.
That's right.
You say, some people say, well, what do you want Black History Month for? But if they'd realised the struggles that people are going through to get where they are,
that's right.
They would. And even today, I still don't think it's that. Let me tell you a quick story. I was working in the computer. I said, only one black colour guy in there. I can't remember where his father was from, but he was like French Guyana or something like that, whatever. So when you had this one woman, she was very, very vocal and we were all, I worked in the day then in the same team. And she stood there and announced to the whole of this team how she thinks that all these people should go back home to where they come from. And Les is there now. Les is a lovely, lovely guy. And they're all looking at Les thinking, oh my God. I'm just very, very dry and quiet. He stood up, he said, so you tell me I should go back to Lanishan where I was born then, is it? And she just sort of shut up when she realised that what she was saying.
Chris, it's been lovely talking to you, and a totally different aspect which is really what we want. What we want to get, and at least we'll do a little. Oh, we'll get this up now as soon as possible. When is the month? It started
October.
when? It's this whole month.
October, yeah.
whole month.
Well, we'll get this up, and that kind of thing will go in there now as we do it.
If you do a bit of search on the internet, you will find things out there. But as I said, my main, and I did voluntary work in the Bhutan History and Arts Centre for a short period, so I understand that it's not easy to find if you're not in that black community.
That's right. Okay, Chris, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Well, we're very fortunate today. We have another person who is going to be interviewed in our Black History Month. Really good. Your name?
Okay, my name is Udwak.
Right.
I come from Nigeria.
Oh, right. So that's a Nigerian name now we've got. We've got a couple more. And are you enjoying yourself here?
Yes.
Here in this? That's good. How long have you been staying here?
I come from London in 2004.
Oh, right.
I live for London, Barmy Road.
Cool.
Before I go, that person he bring me here, he take me for Milton King.
Right.
I live there, Milton King, I live because problems started.
Now, it's obviously hugely different from where you came from.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little picture of what it was like for you as a youngster, living, going to school, growing up, and you could chuck in your favourite food if you wanted to.
Nigerian food, when you prepare,
Yeah.
some people enjoy.
Do you cook it now?
Yeah.
What time's dinner?
Rice, erikaneko.
Is it like a fish area where
Yes,
you were from?
fish,
So
yes.
you would eat dishes, lots of fish dishes.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. When you were growing up in school, what was your class like? Your fellow students? Were they all like we heard from Brianna before that you had different shades of skin?
No, because you people,
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
those people from London, you live for my area.
All right.
So everybody, because my state, he like people.
Yeah.
When people come,
Oh.
he can leave our family and concentrate with that person may come.
Now,
So
you got any brothers and sisters?
yes,
Can you tell us how many?
I get my sister and my brother, 3.
So you got a sister and a brother.
Yes.
Right, okay. And where in Nigeria, what was I don't know whether there were streets or road, whatever it was.
Okay, south. South.
And that was like an estate or a street or street.
Street.
And what did you do when you left school and went to work?
I sell something. I do farmer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, we've never had one of those on here before, see? So I'm really glad you came today. Now, entertainment. Was there cinema in the place where you were open, or was it a lot of bands? Did you play music?
Yeah, no, I not play, but my area is that music, religion for church.
Oh,
We do
right.
something like that.
Gospel stuff.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, very good. Did you go to church?
Yes.
Did you sing in the church choir?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? I knew you were music. So, that is very nice. It's a little insight there that we weren't going to get, and thank you very much for coming back in, because I know you're a bit nervous, but you did very well. Didn't you do very well?
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes,
Can I ask
yes.
a couple of questions? My voice will be edited out, so it's okay. But I just wanted to get a little bit deeper of an insight
Yes.
into things. So, Udwak, when you were first told you were coming here to Newton Court, You didn't know anybody. You didn't understand what you were going to be met with. You may have had two sides of emotions. You may have felt that it's exciting. There's a fresh start. You may have felt, oh my gosh, this is so daunting. What am I going to meet? Who am I going to see?
Yeah.
How am I going to find my way around? Tell me, once the gentleman closes the door, tell me in a second. How did you feel, like the fears and the joys of coming to live here amongst all of us?
The time I come for Cardiff, because that time, in year 2019, I live for System, Adam Down. So these people come and drop me for that place. He do me like a magic. Nobody, I don't know anything. But the first time, the first thing I do it, I ask those people for that house, because 5 people live there. I said, please, I want to know the place I go for church. These people say, you are Christian? I say, yes. I say, I'm all these Muslim. Why tell you here? I say, why? You the same like me. Don't do like this. If you don't know that place, tell me. Don't say like this. So on Sunday, I said, let me go walk. I go City Road. When I go City Road, I stand for that bus stop. I see one man is standing there. I said, please, I want to go church, but I don't know anything here. On Friday, these people drop me. He said, asylum. I said, yes. He said, go. When you go, don't like this, you go and see St. Peter Catholic. Yeah, I said, okay. We start to walk. Go there, I see one woman. I ask, he says, yeah, I go there. So when I go there, I go and, you know, St. Peter Catholic, people plenty. So I go and sit down for back. One person come and say, no, if nobody, why sit like this? I shake. Say, oh, why I come here? When I get problem? So small time, that woman said, stand up, stand up, stand up. I follow, go and sit down. I start there, enjoy morning mass. I go there, see this one man, father, he send somebody, say, Daddy, come and tell me so that I know my people, black people. So he start to tell me. The first time I go one place, I saw black people. I go and ask. I said, please, I want to ask you whether Nigerian people is here. He leave me, he go. I said, what? I said, please don't do like this. I don't know. That person, he talk the same language I talk. I said, I talk with my language. I said, you people, why behave like this? These Jibo people take us like ourselves. So he shake. He said, come and call me. He begged me. I said, yesterday, that day, I come here, I ask people, question, he leave me. Can't do like this. So I continue. I go morning mass, pray, anything you do for that church. I go sweep the floor, do everything till God show somebody. He come and help me till today. Anytime he come here, Robert come here with Chrissy. He work with her husband. He come here, he helping me. The time I stay for YMC, these people helping me. Even that place I go and work now, he love me. I say, God, you are good. Nobody kick me. Everybody take me like in like ourselves. So my history.
Very
I
nice. Thank you
God.
very, very, very much. Very good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I had a fabulous time there doing it, seeing the different people and their different thoughts and the way they presented it themselves, because they do all the work, don't they? And while we were there, we were shown a very interesting video of a very famous black Cardiffian, Betty Campbell, the first ever black headmistress of a school, and very, very involved in that kind of life in Cardiff, promoting the youngsters to look at their getting their full potential out there. Now we won't show it to you now, but we will put the link for you to follow this. It's on YouTube. It's not long. It's about 4.5 minutes or 4 minutes 25. But it is an amazing piece of black history for this month. Well, thank you very much for watching again. Do like and share, particularly the share business, because the more people that looks at it, the better it becomes for us and our reputation, which we're not that bothered about, never mind. Now, what are we going to do next? Well, next we have lined up again another elderly thing. The Age Cymru organisation is running something called Game Changers. And very simply, it's people who have changed their older years and have kept things going, started new things as musicians, all sorts of things that are on board with that. There was in Cardiff Library, there is a small section up on floor number 1 where John, the photographer, has put his pictures up. So that will be in hours when we come, but you could call in Cardiff Library and have a look in the meantime. So that's to come. Game Changers. Look out for it. It's in association with Age Cymru. Okay, so we'll see you then.